Yo, what is up, guys and gals? Welcome back to the podcast. I want to talk today about one of the struggles you will inevitably have to wrestle with as a creator, as an entrepreneur. It is that one of the best ways to spread the word about what you're doing, about your business, about the opportunities, about your art, whatever, is by putting out content on the internet. Content just like this podcast right here. Like what you're listening to, this video on YouTube or the Instagram videos or the tweets or the LinkedIn posts. Like the best way to make people aware of what you do in this age of digitization and instant connectivity is through social media. But the problem is there are a lot of voices out there. There are a lot of there's a lot of content to sift through. And in the beginning, as you start creating your art, you start creating your content, you start putting your products out there into the world, you are going to face the inevitable reality that nobody listens. And it's going to be really frustrating because you'll feel as though you're screaming into a void and that there's no point. And truthfully, you can spend a really long time creating content, really great content, mind you, that just that nobody sees, that nobody becomes aware of because the algorithm just doesn't pick it up. And so this can leave you with the sense that you are wasting your time, that you should go do something else, that your time and energy would be better spent focusing on something else. And this is why people, they will maybe put out a couple videos and they don't get traction. They'll then jump to the next platform and they'll put out a couple things and they'll stop and they'll jump to the next thing. And you're always looking for the hack, the thing that's going to hack the algorithm. And the reality is that the only two things that you can really control is the consistency in which you show up, consistency of you showing up and putting out content, and then the quality of your content. And what I want to encourage you to think about when it comes to putting out your content is that the act of creation is never wasted if you do it with intent. And what I mean by that is, yes, you're going to create a lot of content. You're going to put it out there. Nobody's ever going to see it. They're not going to. The message just isn't going to land. Might as well have just thrown it into the closet and turn off the light, and like nobody ever going to see that thing. But it wasn't wasted in the fact that it is something that you need to go through in order to get to where you want to be, in order to develop the skill to be a great communicator, to be a good content creator, to be a good entrepreneur. Like you have to put in those reps. You have to do that. And so when you put out your content and it gets 0 views or it gets 5 likes, or maybe that's a ton of likes, depending on where you're coming from, like just getting 1 like can be like a huge victory. Just realize that those aren't the metrics that matter, especially in the beginning. The metrics that matter are, did you show up? Did you make it as good as you could? And over time, your ability to produce quality content is going to increase. Your ability to show up consistently is going to improve. You're going to develop that habit of discipline, of follow through, of consistency. And on a long enough time frame, you will eventually start getting traction. You will start building your audience. You will start creating this tribe and this community. For context, I've been creating content in one way, shape, or form and putting it onto the internet since 2014, maybe a little bit earlier actually. And it has taken many, many, many years, and I would say only in the last year and a half that we've really started to gain meaningful traction. And so that's a long journey. And for a lot of people, that might be a deterrent and say like, oh, I'm not going to dedicate that long to this thing. But if I could guarantee for you right now, if you came to me and I could guarantee that in 1 decade, you could be a millionaire, would you be willing to take that? And for a lot of people, they'll say no because they think that they can get to the millionaire way faster than 10 years on their own. But the reality is, if you look at the statistics, the likelihood of that happening is very, very low. So if somebody came to you and had said, here's the surefire way to get to the million in 10 years, you'd probably be wise to take it. And really, the only thing that matters in that equation, like there's not some super secret plan. It's just doing the thing consistently for 10 years will probably get you to where you want to be, assuming that it's the right vehicle, right? Like it doesn't matter how hard you row the wrong boat. So obviously we have to be right in the right vehicle, right opportunity. But if you give that right opportunity, that right vehicle 10 years, it's very, very hard to lose. And so I'm not even at the 10-year mark yet. I still got another year, maybe 2 years before we hit that 10-year mark. And sure enough, we're there on the personal brand content side. I'm not talking about the other businesses. I got really fortunate in a lot of ways and found traction and success on those much sooner. But I'm sharing this with you so that, one, you can come to the act of creation and recognize that it's not about the views, not about the likes. And I share this a lot for myself as well, right? Like, this isn't just a message to you. It's a reminder to myself that when I put out a video and it doesn't get 1 million views, or it doesn't get 10,000 views and only gets 100 likes, it's like, for me, when the previous video gets 50,000 likes and then this one only gets 100, it feels like a failure, right? But all I can control is that I show up and I do the work, and that I do the work as well as I can. And so those are the metrics that matter, is when you look at the content that you're putting out, did you show up and do it? And is it as good as you can make it? And be truthful about those things, because sometimes we cut corners. We just start creating content because we think we're supposed to create content and put it out there. But anything done with intention never fails. Now, it might not succeed in the way that you think, but it's never wasted. That time, that energy that puts into the act of intentional creation is never wasted. I want to share that with you because I see a lot of artists, I see a lot of creators, a lot of entrepreneurs that have something valuable to share with the world, but they don't get the traction in the time frame that they think they should, and they get demoralized because they're focusing on the wrong metrics. So hope this brings you a little bit of value, maybe a new perspective, a shift. If you're going through that struggle right now, and just so you know, that struggle never ends. That struggle just never ends. It changes, it morphs in how it presents itself. But it's something that you're going to be struggling with indefinitely. So might as well buckle up and get comfortable with that. But as always, I appreciate you being here. Thank you so much. It's a joy to have you joining. It's a pleasure. It's an honor, honestly, after all the years of putting out content where nobody is listening, to have the ability to put out a video like this and have people actually resonate and get value out of it. And it really means the world to me. So thank you for this opportunity to be with you. If you got any value out of it, do me a favor, hit the thumbs up button, hit the subscribe button, the like, leave a review, or whatever. Push all the buttons that you can push, and I'll see you back here tomorrow. But until then, stay hyper-focused, my friend.